What's up, fam? Good afternoon. This is Steve. Welcome to my channel, Re-Vera. Today I wanted to talk about something extremely rhetorically important that I would like to ask all of you to help with, because this is very important. And I'll get to that in a second. I did just want to say first, please don't go out there and panic buy stuff. This is kind of dumb. I've had several people tell me already that, oh, but with toilet paper's made in China, that's going to not be available. We're going to be wiping our asses with leaves here soon. No, that's the myth. The fact is most toilet paper is still made in the United States. There's no problem with the supply chain. Same thing with food. There's plenty of food. Like we export so much food, it's ridiculous. So no, there's no shortages except for contrived shortages from people panic buying stuff. So you'll be fine. I've said before in videos that you should have at least a month or a few months worth of food in your house at all times. And if you take that advice, then you don't have to go buy food. Highly recommended. I wouldn't go out and buy a ton of emergency food. You don't need to. But you can and should buy some basic stuff that keeps, like rice and beans, and keep it in a sealed bucket, and that's all you need. At least you have something. So anyway, I literally went to 8 stores last night and this morning looking for hand sanitizer for my work, because, you know, it's sales. We're out there shaking hands with people and stuff like that. So, you know, that's a kind of a no-brainer. People just don't have time to be out here constantly washing their hands. The bathroom's like 50 yards away, and it takes all this time. So anyway, there is no hand sanitizer. It's like anywhere. I checked in the morning hoping they'd be stocked up, and there's none anywhere. So we're actually gonna just make some, because it's not hard to make some. You just need to buy some rubbing alcohol. There's recipes online. So whatever, we'll make it through that. Just recommend not to go panic buying. Now, the actual purpose of this video, what I wanted to talk about, what changes people's minds? Because this is what the left needs to do in order to win fucking anything. We need to change people's minds. I have been trying to change people's mind. I've been arguing, I've been debating for the last decade, basically. And I've learned a lot, and the main thing I've learned is almost everything I did was pretty useless for changing minds. It was educational for me, I don't regret it, but it doesn't change people's minds. And I want to explain this dynamic a little bit, because I was on the other side, and I changed. And for most of the last decade, I thought that it was logic and reasoning that had changed my mind. And it wasn't until I really reflected on it that I realized it's not true. So to put myself back into when I was a conservative and I'd be on the other side of some of these debates, it's kind of like just a game. I mean, somebody says something and you throw out the counterpoint that you've heard. I mean, you're just repeating talking points and shit that you've heard from your pundits and people you follow, and you're not really thinking about stuff yourself. And to be clear, this isn't just conservatives that do this. This is humanity as a whole. Most of you have never really considered most of the arguments you put out there, I suspect. I mean, nobody can think about everything. It's impossible. Like, there's far too much in human civilization. So we find people we trust, we listen to them, and we end up repeating what they say. I mean, that's just human behavior. And that's the problem, because you cannot change somebody's mind until they're willing to question what they already believe and start thinking for themselves. And in order to do that, the only way, I'm more and more convinced, the only way is to get them to question the people they trust that they're listening to. And that's what happened to me. I read this really good book on how the genetics prove a young Earth creationism by John Sanford, called Genetic Entropy. And it is such a convincing book to the layperson. It sounds so good. And so I went armed with that knowledge to the internet, and people didn't have any response to it at that point. For the most part, you know, people aren't genetic scientists, so what are they going to say? But I kept I was challenging people and like trying to find a rebuttal, and eventually I did find a rebuttal online, and the rebuttal claimed over and over again with sources and citations that this book was lying, like just straight up cherry picking stuff completely out of context, and literally studies that prove the exact opposite of what they're saying, but they pick one fucking quote out and make it seem like the study was proving the opposite of what it actually proved. Very, very dishonest. And I didn't believe that either, so I actually looked up the citations, some of which are pretty hard to get to, and couldn't deny it. And when I realized this guy who I thought was a champion of the faith and like, you know, spreading the truth out here, and I found out he was lying to me, because Dr. Jan Sanford is a geneticist. This isn't like happenstance ignorance. He's a genetic scientist. He's done a lot of peer-reviewed stuff. He's contributed to the field. He knows better. And so when I realized he was lying to me, it's that realization is what triggered me to start thinking about everything. It's like, well, who else is lying to me? I had to start like analyzing stuff for myself. I had to start thinking for myself. I literally went through a good couple years where I didn't say, I wasn't involved in anything controversial online because I didn't know what to think anymore. Like, whoever was the last people to point out some facts to me in these debates, they didn't see me for 2 years after that. I was just trying to figure stuff out. And that's what needs to happen to change people's mind. You have to plant doubt in the people they trust, the people that they most value. If you have a Ben Shapiro fan, a Steven Crowder fan, a Fox News person, like, if you can find out who they listen to and then attack their credibility, that's actually probably the best way to change people's mind, if you can get through on that. Why am I talking about this? Because we have a golden opportunity right now to change people's mind, because the entire right wing has been taking the wrong side of the coronavirus issue, and shit's getting undeniable now, and it's only going to get worse. It's going to get to the point where they can't sugarcoat it. People will be seeing for themselves how wrong their idols have been. So what I'm asking you, because I'm busy, why do you think I do these road rants instead of nice edited video essays? I don't have the freaking time. I'm going to do as much of it as I can, but I highly recommend and ask you all to do is to go find videos of anybody on the right saying stupid shit about Democrats fear-mongering about the coronavirus, and it's no big deal, it's just another flu, and this kind of stuff, and save those videos now, because I guarantee they'll be deleting those soon. So go out, find some, save them. If you know how to video edit, you can clip together some compilations of before and after. That'd be great, because their spin on this is evolving. It'll go from denial, and then it's going all kinds of places. But anyway, I posted a great post on Facebook that I stole from somebody that has quotes from Trump, like every day. It's like with the date, actual quotes of Trump from a month ago or a month and a half ago to now. Just denial, as well as all kinds of other stupid stuff. And that's the kind of stuff. Like, Trump has... People say you can't convince Trump cultists, and that's true to a large degree, but this is different, because this is going to be tangible. This is going to affect people's lives. People are going to lose their fucking house because they can't work because they're quarantined. People are going to be hurt by this, and that's a bad thing. I'm not glorying in the tragedy here, but we need to prevent tragedies like this from happening by advocating for a better fucking government. People who are like, the main point I'm seeing from Republicans lately is the Democrats are making this a partisan issue. No. It is a freaking political issue. Like, people are dying, and it's the government that needs to handle things. existential threats like war and pandemic. Even most libertarians should agree with that. And the government is not doing its job well. So we have every right to criticize the government for not doing that well, and we can and we should, and in fact we have a moral freaking duty to do that. So yes, we're going to take political advantage of something when the other side of the aisle is fucking killing people over this and destroying people's lives, and when Republicans are refusing to even pass the milquetoast shitty bill the Dems put forward to give people a little fucking sick leave so they don't have to be scared of getting tested positive and not being able to work. This is a massive opportunity for the left. This highlights how the right has no answers for severe existential problems like climate change, and now more urgently, like the coronavirus, Covid19. And the neoliberal and neocon establishment don't have any answers either. The Democrats are better, but they're not nearly far enough. I think Bernie is doing a great job of dealing with this. He's putting out live press conferences every day now with just awesome responses. And I'm really, really hopeful that this is going to turn the momentum in his favor, because he's got a much better answer to this than Biden does. And I think this is our opportunity. So please get out there, find some right-wing videos that are downplaying the coronavirus and spreading misinformation, and save that shit before it gets deleted. Even if you don't know how to do video editing, you can send it to me. You can DM me on Twitter with a link to it or something. And let's collect this stuff before it disappears. So anyway, thanks guys. Let's change some minds and help save the world. Thanks.